For today's entry in the beautiful obsession that is RPG A Day 2021, I will forego the attractiveness of trust and light as prompts, and likewise bypass advantage to focus on the prompt conscience. This is a fantastic prompt for me, a player who prefers to trust in the richness of operating on the character level, and who appreciates a subtle mechanism in a game system which helps to reinforce the experiences of the character in meaningful ways. So, if you'd prefer to read this entry, please consider visiting the Casting Shadows blog at castingshadowsblog.com. Otherwise, stay tuned. A few years ago, I got to read Paul Wade Williams' manuscript for Leagues of Gothic Horror, well before publication. This sort of thing is one of the advantages of being an editor, but it often comes with the price of not being able to talk about the contents of what one is working on. And sometimes that's a high price to pay because of the great temptation to share how incredible it is. In that expansion for Leagues of Adventure, Paul, known affectionately as Wiggy, put forward a simple yet powerful mechanism to shed light on the effect of villainous action on its perpetrators, reinforcing and helping to define the difficult and oppressive society in which the game line is based. The way this method rises to meet the player, the way it models the slide into corruption and guilt, and the way it offers a difficult and life-altering road to further degradation or tenuous redemption is, to my mind, very satisfying and a reason all on its own to play the games, in addition to all the other reasons. Stripped of its system specifics for the purpose of this podcast, this mechanism is a way of measuring the frequency and degree of vile or villainous action, as measured and understood by the people of the setting. It's more than just a mechanical way to give a player pause before choosing a dramatic shift in their portrayal of a character. It's a way to alert them to the seriousness of that action in terms of the setting, so that they can be fully aware of it and what they're doing and fully appreciate the course that play is taking. If that vile action is ultimately taken, provoked by external forces or internal motivations, it will leave its mark upon the character in 3 ways. The first way is that the character sheet will gain a notation of the growing influence of corruption upon the character. It's something that people notice and are made uncomfortable by, as if they can hear the whispers of the character's guilty conscience and see the signs of past battles with it written on the character's face. The second way is that the character gains a new quirk in their behavior related to their villainy. It informs play moving forward by serving as a reminder of the moment of villainy and how it preys upon the character, but also in that by representing that flaw, mechanical rewards will come into play which help further the character's goals. The more obvious and limiting that quirk is demonstrated to be, the more able the character will become at accomplishing their ends. Of course, those ends will start to be defined by these marks of conscience and corruption. Finally, the character, though on a dark and destructive road, can still seek redemption. The true sign of the bite of conscience is to seek to perform reparations and to erase the stain one is allowed to spread across one's soul. Such a pursuit is not easy. Backsliding and a return to villainous form is far easier and more common. To achieve redemption, the character may find they need to act not just because of conscience, but with conscientiousness as well. If you're curious about seeing this, at least a little bit, highlighted in play, please consider checking out the video on my channel called Death, Where is Thy Sting? A Leagues of Gothic Horror Actual Play. You can find it in the Leagues of Gothic Horror Actual Play playlist, or you can follow the link provided in the show notes or embedded into the blog post at castingshadowsblog.com. Tomorrow's prompt for Wednesday, August 11th, is wilderness. That's our W word for the day. But we're also supported by listen, heavy, and despair. Some really juicy choices there. Well, until we reveal what we talk about tomorrow, take care. Thank you for listening to the Casting Shadows podcast, an extension of the Casting Shadows blog found at castingshadowsblog.com, and of our YouTube channel, which is called Runeslinger.